Hey, welcome to Technology Paul. Let me tell you something. I'm a huge fan of AI. I believe in AI and all the recent advancements in this space because I want to see the abundant future that the technology promises. That's why when OpenAI announced its operator agent several weeks ago, it was kind of jaw-dropping. Think about it. A computer-using agent that could act like a virtual assistant, completing real actions on the web for you. That sounds promising. As a technology enthusiast, eventually my curiosity got the best of me. So I decided to take it for a spin. But does the operator live up to the initial feeling of amazement? What can it actually do for you? What are its limitations? Let's dig in. Alright, so let's just start with some bad news. OpenAI's operator is paywalled behind the most expensive ChatGPT subscription tier. That means that if you want to try out Operator, it will cost you $200 US per month. Yeah, that's a significant investment. Now, ChatGPT Pro comes with a lot of other benefits, such as unlimited access to advanced voice mode, access to the O1 Pro reasoning model, Sora video generation, and unlimited deep research, all of which are great features. And some people are using ChatGPT to get some serious work done in their space, whether it be business or programming. It can be worth it for the right use case. In fact, Operator is kind of a bonus add-on for ChatGPT Pro. So how does it work? Well, the Operator is powered by a new model called a computer using agent. It uses GPT-4o's vision capabilities to understand what's on the screen of the virtual browser. The agent is trained to interact with graphical user interfaces, the buttons, menus, and text fields people see on a screen. The operator takes screenshots as it navigates the web, which allows it to see what's on the screen. It can interact with the web using all the actions that a keyboard and mouse allow, enabling it to take action on the web without requiring custom API integrations. According to OpenAI, if it encounters challenges or makes mistakes, Operator can leverage its reasoning capabilities to self-correct. When it gets stuck and needs assistance, it simply hands control back to the user, ensuring a smooth and collaborative experience. OpenAI has touted Operator's ability to fill out forms, order groceries, and even create memes independently. In the launch video, they show a use case where someone asks it to find a recipe for linguine and has it order the ingredients through Instacart. Again, this is pretty impressive, and it opens up a world of questions about how this could be used for personal or business use in a way that significantly saves time and adds further automation to our lives. So there's a whole range of activities you might want to assign to the operator. For me, I thought I could treat it like a personal assistant. I might want to ask it to get information for me, to do research, or even do more advanced things such as buy tickets, answer my YouTube comments, and so on. Let's just go through a few examples. Here's an example where I wanted an eSIM for a Europe trip this summer. This could be great because it's tedious work researching and finding the best options. As you can see, it searches Bing using the phrase eSIM providers for Europe. Then it clicks one of the first options. It immediately finds an option on Saley, chooses it, and goes to the checkout page. Then it messages me. I found a 5GB eSIM plan for Europe on Saley for USD $19.49, valid for 30 days. It's suitable for your 3-week trip. The checkout page is ready for you to complete the purchase. Would you like to proceed with this option? So what has worked well here and what hasn't? First of all, it was quick and efficient, and it did indeed find an eSIM for Europe. That said, I immediately felt a little disappointed because I sort of expected it to do a bit more research, such as getting 1 or 2 comparison options before telling me to buy the first one it found. Like a good personal assistant, I expected it to bring me some options. By simply performing a web search, clicking on the first match it could see, and then going to the checkout page, I'm not sure it was that helpful compared to just performing those actions on my own. I could do all that myself in less than 30 seconds. I guess what I expected it to do was to take some time, I don't know, maybe a few minutes, and then come back and say, Paul, here is the best eSIM for Europe. I've done extensive research and this is the one you should get. But it didn't do that. So I asked it to find me a comparison option. And so it searches again for about a minute and comes back with another option, which is actually cheaper. I could have improved my overall outcome here with a better prompt from the start. For example, I could have asked it right up front to find more than one option. Next up, I asked it to find 3 tickets for the Harry Potter studio video experience in London, and I gave it some dates to work with. It successfully found 3 tickets for me, but there are a couple of issues. First of all, it added 3 adult tickets, but I actually need a child ticket with 2 adult tickets. I could have put this in my prompt, but it also could have asked me based on what it was seeing was available. Secondly, assuming I walked away from this task while it was performing it, I wouldn't have seen the price flash by on the screen. And it doesn't actually tell me the price of the tickets with its message to me here. So I ask it how much the tickets are. Then it added the tickets to the basket to find out the price. That's great because it gave me the opportunity to see it was for 3 adults. So I corrected it to get a child ticket. It then updated the cart and let me know the updated price. So overall, this task actually worked out all right in the end. Another thing on my to-do list was to get a haircut. So I asked it to book me one for the weekend. Things started off pretty well here. It found me a haircut for $32. It didn't proactively tell me what times were available, so I asked it about time slots. And to its credit, it came back with the available options. Like any good personal assistant though, it should know my schedule as well to make sure the selected times work. So I asked it to cross-reference with my calendar, find the best time. But we ran into trouble here as it stated, "I'm unable to access your personal calendar." Well, my calendar is accessible from the web, so I asked it to log into Google Calendar, but it then just asked me to provide it access to my Google Calendar, which I would do, but it didn't even navigate to the login screen. So in this case, I'd have to go back and forth with it quite a bit more to get logged into Google Calendar. So I ended up dropping the task completely. In this case, it just felt like there was a lot of friction in getting what I wanted done. All right, I also knew I was going skiing in the mountains, so I needed a ski jacket. So I asked it to find me a good option. I was getting smarter with the prompt by this point, so I asked it for 2 or 3 options. It basically immediately got stuck on the Helly Hansen website, where it ran into a verification puzzle. This is a good example of why you can't walk away from Operator for very long. It will simply get stuck and not move on until I fix the issue for it. But I didn't ask it to go to this particular website. If it runs into a verification puzzle, perhaps it could just try a different website. But no, it just sits there. What if you ask the Operator to do something for you, then you walk away for an hour, only to come back and discover it worked for 1 minute, hit a snag, and got stuck and hasn't been doing anything since? That's a pretty frustrating experience. This is where some reasoning by the model would really come in handy. So I took control and solved the puzzle, and then it eventually found me 2 options, which ironically were on a completely different website. I then asked it to find me some movie tickets. That seemed like a great task for the Operator. It correctly found Cineplex, which is the big movie theater operator here in Canada, but then it got stuck in a loop on their website, never finding the times. That is a failure, but at least it had good reasoning to try a different approach. That led it to another theater operator, Landmark Cinemas, where it correctly found the times for the day I was looking for. That said, in its output, it didn't even list all the movies that were playing and asked me to go check the website. No, Operator, that's what I'm paying you for. But to its credit, it seems I would have been able to go through the flow of purchasing the tickets, so this task kind of worked. All right, after seeing all of those examples, it's clear that Operator is still in its early days. OpenAI clearly labels it as a research preview, and it's obvious why that is. Getting it out into the world and having people use it and ultimately get frustrated with it will help them make it better. But to be fair, there are also ways in which I could use Operator better to get a better experience today. As I said earlier in the video, I could give Operator better prompts. Just like normal ChatGPT, the better your prompt, the better the results. If you want multiple options for something, for example, then you should explicitly state you want multiple options. If you want to do a certain amount of research, make sure you make that clear. I think that in general, Operator is going to try to find the quickest path to completion on any given task. So it's important to set the parameters up front. I also believe Operator can get better over time at completing tasks you might do regularly. This is because you might have to handhold it quite a bit as you log into certain services, for example. But the next time you want to buy movie tickets, book a haircut, or do anything that requires an account, it should be a little bit faster as it has those logins cached in its browser. You can also save tasks if you have successfully successfully completed something. If you think you'll ask the same thing again in the future, it could do it faster and more efficiently next time based on the saved flow. That being said, is Operator worth buying the ChatGPT Pro subscription for? Absolutely not. This tech is still way too early to be super useful. It just needs too much handholding. It gets stuck in its tasks constantly, and it doesn't have enough reasoning built in, meaning you have to be a prompt engineer to get decent results. But I will tell you that this still leaves me super excited for the future iterations of this technology. Excited and apprehensive. I know that Operator isn't great today, but let's not forget that we have an AI that can use a web browser all on its own. And this is the worst it will ever be. We will see constant updates and iterations, and it's crazy to think how good it might be in a year. I think that's going to lead to a lot of productivity gains. I also think that this is where we'll start to see a decent amount of job displacement though. Because in the knowledge work economy, a lot of people with a generalist skill set get paid good money to use a web browser for 90% of their day. I know those people are doing a lot more complex tasks than what I just showed today, but it still has me thinking that things are about to get very interesting. What do you think about Operator? Have you tried it, or have you found a use case that is super compelling? Let me know what you think in the comments. But the bottom line for me is that you shouldn't get Operator today. You will not get a lot of real value from it. But keep an eye on the overall space of computer using agents. I know I will. And if you want to get updates about this stuff as it evolves, subscribe to my channel. I post new videos all the time. Lastly, if the video was interesting, do me a favor and click that like button, as it helps more people find my content and it's hugely appreciated. Thanks, and we'll catch you in the next one.